Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I created Magic and Miracles for people of all walks of life to be able to achieve their manifestation goals. True story, but also to realize manifestation is easy, and all you have to really learn is how to do it on purpose. You're already doing it, you just need to learn how to specifically design your reality according to your new rules, not somebody else's. All right. So, all the information from me is below. If you're interested in coaching with me, the process is such that you need to first book a 1 hour session. In this session, we converse, we get to know each other, we simply make sure that this is going to be a good investment, a good rapport between the two of us, provided you've made yourself familiar with my work on this channel and on my predecessor channel. The link is directly below. I spent 3 years on YouTube, 10 years as a coach outside YouTube, coaching people mostly in the entertainment business. I still do. Actors, models, stand up comedians, what have you. That's the world I come from, simply. And then 3 years ago, I was really inspired to start sharing my ideas on YouTube about spirituality, manifestation, what have you. And thing led to another. And here we are talking about this piece because I really understand people do need help. And I myself, funnily enough, have done quite a bit of work in that department in my own personal life 15 years ago. And that is exactly actually what led me to self rediscovery, to self realization and self transformation. That my process started in 2010, 2011, somewhere around that. I simply had enough of how my life was going. And in the process of going through my own transformation, not really realizing it at the time, I was creating my signature coaching program. And this is exactly the coaching program that I created for YouTube audience specifically, that will be implemented when you coach with me. And I recommend 2 to 3 months in this coaching program. It's a very intense program for you to be able to focus and get things done in as short a time as possible without pressuring you necessarily. However, I do believe in shocking the system, the old system that is, and this is why I operate with intensity of 3 times per week. In the beginning, at the very least, at least 1 month in this capacity. And really, just it's 2 months, okay, but 2 months intensive, an intensive process 3 times per week. And then usually by month 3, I downgrade people to 2 times per week. It truly just depends on the situation. You might need more than 3 months. I've seen that. You might just need 2 months. It depends on the situation, as I've said, and how much mama drama panorama you have to process. Without processing the mama drama panorama, you simply are not going anywhere. And you do need a coach who has done this before with many people and who understands how to do it. A lot of coaches out there never taken so much as a psychology class, simply declared themselves a coach because they read Neville Goddard. A big red flag, okay? You really need to do your research, and you really need to know that your consciousness, as it were, is going to be in safe hands. So this is why please make sure you resonate with my ideas. I'm all about self-empowerment and putting you in the middle of creation, not in a narcissistic way, but in self-empowering way, self-loving way. All right. So if you have any questions before booking, there are the packages, but I gave you kind of like the meat and potatoes, as they say. I love that expression. If you have any questions, please email me. So the reason I'm recording this is because one of my long-term subscribers on this channel and my predecessor channel, Alessio Valentino, I hope I pronounced that correctly, asked me a really, really lovely question. And I really love all questions, period. But this one in particular really intrigues me. And so much so, I wanted to record an audio to answer the said question. And this is related to the live. It was a question based on what I discussed in live. And if you haven't watched it, go watch it. Really love doing those lives for you guys. And I was discussing how essentially the woman and the way her energy should be, in particular, a woman. And this goes for men and women, and which is what I am about to discuss, how to be magnetic for a man and a woman. But what I was discussing is that the mechanics of the energy of femininity, of what it is to be a woman, it really does not involve any chasing at all. So you're going against nature itself when you're chasing if you're a woman. And I gave this example of, excuse me, but even the genitals of a woman are created in a way, are architected in a way where it's to receive. You're not supposed to chase. So this is what femininity is all about receptivity, about being magnetic in that way. Obviously, for a man, it's different. And this is the question. I'm going to read the question. Is the chase versus attract analogy work the same for a man or a woman? So does the chase versus attract analogy work the same for a man or a woman? Women are usually able to attract the attention of an SP by their beauty, energy, whereas a man usually has to initiate the first move, start a conversation, ask for a phone number, chase in parentheses. Or can a man expect to apply this the same way in regards to an SP by waiting to attract the woman? So, all right, really, I love the question. So, thank you again for the question. But the thing is, I never really said anything about waiting. What I did say is that you're already magnetic. You are already magnetic as a person, whether you are a man or a woman. Just in women's scenario, I really noticed this consistently with women who are not successful with SPs. They really feel like they need to chase, okay, for understandable reasons, because again, as I went over in live, they didn't feel in their upbringing, in their childhood, like they're being taken care of. And so the natural inclination, then the human inclination, is then to chase. Like if it's not coming to you, if you're not used to it coming to you naturally, right? This is what you learned. You have to go and hunt it, chase it. And I believe people who just kind of like think in terms of stealing or grabbing what's not theirs and cheating somebody out of it, like deep down, I mean, that's an extreme, like really kind of bordering on mental illness. I think, I mean, if you're stealing, yeah, you have a mental illness. That's my opinion, okay? Because that's, I mean, you're just breaking the law and you're reckless in that sense. But that's an extreme. But and still, these people, I believe that they're suffering from a mental illness because they were impacted by this extreme condition somewhere early in their childhood, where there was extreme deprivation of love, of affection, of attention. So now they're literally like on the hunt. But that's, again, an extreme one. But so in both cases, whether you're a man or a woman, here's what I want to say, and I will address specifically a man since I'm being asked from the point of view of a man. In both cases, you just have to realize you are already magnetic. And I'm going to give you from the point of view of a woman what I think would work for a man. It isn't about the waiting. It's about how much magnetism are you allowing yourself to exercise in the situation. Okay. So all of these things are true. There's social roles in that sense. And by the way, this goes both for the same sex relationships, right? Take it as it resonates. Like whatever energy you're more of, whether that's feminine or masculine, like you will understand. You do understand. Okay. I've coached a lot of gay and lesbian and people who just feel different other than what people say they should feel like. All right, they have their own kind of rhythm, but whatever resonates towards you, whatever energy you identify yourself with, this is how I should say it. In the case of a man or a masculine energy, it's true. You are the one, you're the role, you have this role of, I have to go and take action. Nevertheless, though, right, it's all about how you take action. Like for a woman to walk into the room, for instance, or to go on a date or to interact with anybody, that's still action. That it's not perceived as she's doing anything to attract attention, she's just being herself, is a different story. But even that is action. To walk into the room, to exercise your magnetism, to appear confident, even if you're not, right? In the beginning, you're shoehorning yourself, to exude this confidence of, I know I can have anybody. And this, again, for myself, I had to learn this. I had to teach this to myself, first in modeling, and then it kind of spilled over into my personal life, because I was like, well, this is no different. It's the same game. I want to be chosen in that sense. So for a woman, it's still an action of, I exercise my magnetism, and I know every single man that I meet will be gaga for me. And then it becomes my choice whether or not I want to continue the relationship. This is how preset you can have your belief system, parenthesis here. And this is how I operate going forward, just in business or whatever. Everybody wants me. It's just a matter of whether I want them back or not. Now, I'm not going to be evil. I'm not going to mistreat people. It's not that. But it is an understood assumption, if you will, that if there is a situation of romantic expectation or whatever, it's a done deal. It's already understood that the other person wants me. Now, for a man, it works the same way, except yes, you're taking a different kind of action in the 3D. You may be, yes, asking somebody out and this and that, but it's how you do it, right? There's a way to walk into the room. There's a way to expect a yes, essentially. Some of the most magnetic men that I've ever met, let me put it this way, were not the most handsome ones. By far not, no. But they were the most confident ones, right? Sometimes, I've met a lot of people in like entertainment business, etc., and modeling and this and that, where the guy is drop dead gorgeous, all right, and really just, I mean, you can look at him like a statue, like a Greek statue, but no confidence. So super fucking boring. Again, an extreme example, but we've all been there with the pretty boys and all this kind of jazz. Not that it's, I'm not saying it in a shameful way. Lots of pretty boys have really, really, good head on their shoulders. But if the confidence is not there, it's so not attractive. The same way for women, again, met women that are drop dead gorgeous. I mean, you can look at them and examine them like in a museum, kind of situation. But it just, there's no substance there. There's no magnetism, okay? But now reverse, as I was saying, the most magnetic men that I've ever met in my life, physically, they were not fucking stallions. They were not like drop dead gorgeous, but they were so fucking confident, not cocky, not disrespectful, but confident. Okay, they were going into the conversation or the situation expecting a yes from me. And therefore, I mean, completely taken by their confidence and magnetism, I would say yes. I would kind of like, it's not that I didn't feel like I had a choice, but I was so enthralled and really thrilled by their magnetism. Like, look at this. This is a confident person that knows exactly what they want. And again, it's not done in a cocky way, like, duh, are you going to say yes? Like 300 other girls said yes this week. No, 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 not like this. It's all how you do things, right? You showing up with an assumption, again, that I always get a yes. Everybody wants me. Now, I don't need to hear this from the guy, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to recite that to me. But the attitude is that there's genuine interest, first of all. It's all in the aura. I mean, you can read this magnetically, like you can read, not magnetically, but like intuitively, you can read their magnetism and the way that they present themselves to you in case of a man is very normal, is very natural. That's the other thing. There isn't, for a woman, again, I can speak from experience, there doesn't need to be this long, drawn out kind of situation of saying things the right way and overthinking how to say, and just a regular down to earth conversation. I feel like most women is what they appreciate. The long conversations usually mean that you're prepping yourself and you're insecure. You're kind of building up your confidence as you're talking, instead of just saying, hey, you know what? It would be really fun to catch, a cup of tea with you. I know it sounds so funny now that I've said it, because I don't drink anymore. But for you drinkers out there, and by God, enjoy. I enjoyed my years of drinking. I just don't want to drink anymore. But oh my God, that's so funny. It would be fun to continue this conversation with you over a glass of champagne. I would love to know your thoughts more about this, like genuine interest, instead of some kind of like cut and dry bullshit of, let's go out on a date. Okay, that's interesting. There's more not. There's more magnetism in how you approach a person. Like, imagine if you thought from a point of view of a salesperson. And again, this is how I shoehorn my consciousness in, by first starting with the modeling, right? I had to sell myself, in quotations, to people when I went on castings and auditions in order to present myself in the best light. And I had to think like a salesperson, okay? Nothing to say no to. Okay, is my rule. Kind of like, I'm going to go there and my energy is going to be nothing to say no to. Not necessarily what I look like, okay? Not necessarily what I say, but my energy is going to be nothing to say no to. It's going to be the highest quality of energy. It's going to be confidence. Again, not cocky, very humble, but confident. All right, very likable, but confident. And I feel when you have that and you're starting out with a genuine interest in who you're selling to, in quotations again, this is a metaphor, okay? Don't get carried away. To me, it applies in business just as much as in romantic. It's just a different kind of flair, but you're there to get your way kind of situation. And so the second thing to remind yourself is that opposite you have a person. You have a person with a life, with interest, with background, with stories, with an internal world. If you want to be magnetic towards somebody, it's like, I forget who said it. I think it was Jim Rohn. And if it wasn't Jim Rohn, then there was another spectacularly, magnificently interesting person that I can't remember the name of. But if you want to be an interesting person, you need to be interested, okay, in people. That's how you are an interesting person yourself. If you genuinely take interest, and I mean, I'm going on the assumption that you are on the same wavelength as this person, you're not faking it. If you're genuinely interested in this person and what they're all about, it's going to be a piece of fucking cake for you to be magnetic towards them, because they're going to realize, wow, this person is not just surface level, there's some depth here. And do you know how that is so powerful and magnetic? It's holy shit, bananas magnetic. People don't take the time these days to read, to research, to find out more things about another person. Do you know how fucking refreshing that shit is? That not only did you take the time to build your confidence, but you also took the time to find a few things about this fucking person. All right. And even if you don't know anything about them, there's something that you do know, even if you have just met them in a bar somewhere or wherever, people meet these days. All right. There's certain information that you can use to start a very magnetic conversation, that they will open themselves up to you and tell you everything. Just again, take interest. And again, I want to emphasize, it's not this prepared speech. It's not going through the motions. It's actually being humble and casual with a flair and interest for the person in front of you. That's all you really need, for a genuine interest. I mean, and I'm just going on the assumption that you want really meaningful relationships with depth, with genuine passion and curiosity about each other. So in sum, if you're going in as a man into a situation where you want to get a yes, You need to prep yourself first, build up your confidence, even if you have none right now. And if you don't understand how to do it one on one, I can certainly coach you, whatever your hangups are in that sense. But prep yourself. Prep yourself, but also prep yourself in terms of who this person is. And then go to town. And you will only get yeses. You will always get your way with other people if you follow this magical formula of magnetism. And for a woman, I just want to say this, that yes, it's natural to attract, again, men or women, whoever you're into in that sense, as I've said before, with your beauty, yes, with your energy, but it doesn't stop there. I think it just as much as in a man's case, in a woman's case, that's just, something for you to open the door with your beauty, with your charm, etc. But what lies underneath it? Is there real confidence to back these looks up, or you're running on empty, quite frankly. All right. Are you going into that date, that conversation, that text exchange, that email exchange, that phone call with real confidence? Not cocky, not kind of like modest or fake modest, not shy. No, but truly owning yourself and not being afraid of anything. Just being truly yourself and understanding you're there to attract. You're not there to chase. You're there to have a genuine connection. There is nothing to chase when you understand. And here's what I forgot completely to mention in the live. And thank goodness my higher self just reminded me, because I really meant to include this in this recording. You have to understand that if you're attracted to somebody, they are attracted to you just as much. It's just the law of the universe. It's the quantum field communicating with you, and through this person. This person is just visually and physically is a representation of what it is you're constructing in your mind anyway. They're so connected to you. So if you're just going into any interaction, and again, text message, phone call, what have you, fully owning this truth, fully owning your magnetism, knowing this person, if you want them, they're yours. The only reason, as I've mentioned in the live, is when you don't have something, is that simultaneously with wanting something, which is a normal thing to do, as I've said in live, to want good things for yourself, but simultaneously you're also saying how much you don't deserve it, how much you're not the woman or the man for the job, right? So then the universe will obey you just as much. It doesn't matter how many things you want. If you don't think you're prepared to receive them, if you don't believe that you are worthy of them, you're not going to get them. You understand? It's not a matter of criticism. It's not a matter of judgment. It's just that you're not of that energy yet. Okay? You're pushing it away simply because you're not of that energy. But if you just internally knew that your confidence should be based on this knowledge that if you want something, it wants you just as much. It doesn't matter if it's a specific person, sum of money, etc. And the only person who's not signing off on the deal, so to speak, is you. But if you were to walk into any interaction, any situation, any relationship, already like the basis of this interaction, whatever it might be, is that they want me just as much, if not more, all right? If you want to kind of put a little twist on it, then it's kind of like any action I take or anything I say to this person is going to be inspired. It's going to follow the yellow brick road of the most magnetic interaction, the most magical unfolding that I could not, on this level, on this human level, orchestrate. Never in a million years. Me in my head, with my human head, I'm going to overanalyze, overthink, overworry, be too shy, boo. No, go with the magnitude. I already have this person. We're connected. How so? We're magnetically interacting way before this conversation happens, way before we make love, way before we get married, way before blah, blah, blah. We already energetically linked. Now I just have to act on this. It's like you have the winning jackpot ticket, you're refusing to cash it in. You have the $1 billion in your bank account, you're not fucking spending it, and maybe even worse, pretending it's not there. True story, though. True story. So, in essence, when I would interact with magnetic and confident men, it would be so seamless because they would feed off of also, first we start with their confidence and magnetism, but then they would recognize that I'm feeding off of their magnetism and their confidence, and it would be completely seamless. And I knew that they expected this on some level. I mean, they weren't, again, as cocky as, well, duh, she's gonna say yes, but I can see it in their eyes that they sort of kind of had a feeling that we had this connection already going in. So it was pre-paved, this manifestation, you see. And I feel it goes back to trusting your intuition, trusting your gut, being honest about how you truly feel, and then taking action. And that's also another thing that I mentioned in live. You should never take the action from the world of worry or stress or fear or this and any other. Get yourself in the world of confidence, of magnetism, of a complete connection to the quantum field, and knowing all the answers and knowing your SP belongs to you, and then take the action. Holy shit, bananas. That's going to be one magnificent fairy tale. That's going to be one magnificent story to tell for the books, because the unfolding of that story is going to be so spectacular on whatever level you're playing. Maybe you're just dating around, maybe you're just, wanting an experience, or maybe you're ready to rock and roll with a certain person, or maybe you're ready to meet the one. It's Don't take the action from the desperate world. Only take the action from the magnetic inspired world, and watch what's going to happen. Your entire life, your entire dating life, it's going to transform, but completely. I mean, but for me, as I've said, this goes for any relationship, in particular for romantic relationships. I think when you're confident and tuned in and connected this way, you can do no wrong. Meaning, I mean, obviously you have to be benevolently positioned, but it's kind of like everything just flows naturally to you in that sense. That's what I meant by you can do no wrong. It's everything just falls into your lap because the magnetism, it continues to work. Once you have that, it's automatic. Right now, if I wanted to get a yes from anybody, I know how to tune in into that energy, connect with the quantum field, and get a yes from this person. And the more you do it, the more, the more efficient you're going to become in this game of getting a yes from anybody, getting anybody on your side, the people that you want, that is, of course. So, in other words, if you operate from this energy, you can have anybody at any time, even the people, yes, that you have not, spoken to in a long time. The action, again, is telepathic. The action is energetic. The rest is kind of like the cherry on top. Whatever action you're going to take towards it in the 3D is just kind of it's inspired. It's so apropos. It doesn't really matter. It's the energy that dominates the situation and that will predict the outcome that you want. Thank you very much for listening. I hope I've answered this question. Comment below if you have another question. Until next time, ciao, ciao.